What's up, guys? Welcome back to Chiefs Chat. It's been a few weeks since I've last made a Chiefs Chat, and it's the off season. Things are a little slow right now. Not much to report in terms of Chiefs football. Okay, it's not a lot going on. Okay, but you know what? I mean, it's been pretty eventful in terms of the Chiefs celebrating. Just great things going on. If you guys forgot, we did win the Super Bowl in February, so there's been some nice celebration going on. We've got the ring ceremony, we've got quite a few really nice things going on within Chiefs Kingdom. Not to mention, OTAs are ramping up, okay? Players are finally, hitting the field, getting ready for this upcoming season. I mean, it's only in a couple of short months, okay? September, I believe the 6th, is when the Chiefs will face the Lions to kick off the 2023-2024 NFL season. It's only a couple of short months away. But for now, we're kind of sitting in this off-season period, talking about what do we think this team's going to look like when the regular season comes, and I'm pretty excited personally. But in terms of off-season headlines, one that I've been seeing quite a bit is DeAndre Hopkins. Okay, just a lot of talk about where he's going to go. First it was Aaron Rodgers. Of course, he chose to sign with the Jets. And now DeAndre Hopkins is kind of that big name that's still just kind of floating around here during NFL free agency. If you guys don't know who DeAndre Hopkins is, I'm going to assume that all of you do, because he's one of the greatest receivers in today's league, if not in the league as a whole. I mean, he's just a fantastic receiver. I mean, who could forget that incredible game-winning Hail Mary catch against the Bills a couple of years ago? I mean, that was fantastic. But aside from that, okay, he's a free agency this year. The Cardinals have decided to release him. I'm not sure. I think they're still trying to figure out how to trade him. I don't know. I'm not really sure what's going on with that whole scenario. But all I know is that he is searching for a new team. And a lot of people, including DeAndre Hopkins himself, has linked him to the Chiefs. Okay? And, it's interesting to me. It's been, I think he personally stated that he would love to play with Patrick Mahomes, and then he listed a couple other guys, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, I believe Aaron Rodgers was another guy. But when that kind of thing happens, when one of the greatest receivers of all time, frankly, says that he wants to play with Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, it's exciting. It's exciting to hear that. And I think a lot of Chiefs fans right now are really, still holding on to hope that could, potentially be a reality. We did lose Tyreek Hill a couple of years ago, and I think, everybody's kind of hoping we get another star player to fill that role. But my personal opinion on it, okay? I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I feel like there are probably some Chiefs fans that would agree with me. But my personal take is that DeAndre Hopkins would not be a good fit in this Chiefs offense, and I don't think we need him. We could definitely bring in DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, he would get over 1,000 yards, probably a good amount of touchdowns, but do we need DeAndre Hopkins? Do we need... Sorry, give me a second here. Do we need to pay another player a max contract? And the answer to that is absolutely not, Take a look at our roster from last season. Take a look at the receivers that we played with. Juju Smith-Schuster was, I believe, our highest paid receiver, only making $10 million. And boom, Super Bowl champs, Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay, I mean, it was a great season. Patrick Mahomes MVP, okay? Nobody in our receiving room eclipsed 1,000 yards. Juju Smith-Schuster probably would have if he wasn't hurt so much. But we got Travis Kelce. I mean, we don't need superstar level receivers. We really did do a great job spreading the ball around. Everybody did just a fantastic job contributing. And I think DeAndre Hopkins on this football team would kind of limit that. I think it would turn into the Travis Kelce, DeAndre Hopkins show. And that's what it was for quite a while with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. It was kind of the, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce show, and that was fun. That was cool while it lasted. But I think we've entered a new era of Chiefs football where we're really going to see Patrick Mahomes start to spread the wealth around. And I think it's helped him a lot. I mean, he won the MVP last season. I think his game improved after Tyreek Hill left. And that's not to say Tyreek Hill didn't also have a career season. It was not his definitely wasn't his fault that Patrick Mahomes wasn't reaching that potential. But I'm looking at the group of receivers we got here in KC, man, and I'm super happy with the group of guys that we got. Kadarius Toney is still on the team after, our trade that we made last season. I believe it was a 3rd and a 5th round pick that we used to acquire Kadarius Toney, and we had the pick equity to do that trade. At the time, I'll probably make a whole separate video on that actually, but at the time I was like, I don't know about this, a third and a fifth, probably could have used that to get a solid defensive player, and we used it on Kadarius Toney, and I was a little iffy about that at the moment, but you know what, worked out perfectly. I mean, I don't think that we would have won that Super Bowl without the efforts of Kadarius Toney, so you can't put a price tag on that. Come on. But anyway, he's probably going to end up being our wide receiver 1. So that's kind of the way that things ended up working out. Using that pick equity to bring in Kadarius Toney, and here he is, a wide receiver 1 at this point. And then, of course, let's not forget Marquez Valdes-Scantling still on the roster, signed him to a 3-year contract. He's got this year and next year until he becomes a free agent once again. And also, we've got just a great group of young guys that I'm super excited about. Okay, of course, we got Sky Moore from last season. Definitely showed some signs of growth. A lot of people are saying, I believe our wide receiver coach himself has stated that Sky Moore, he's gotten bigger, he's gotten stronger, he's gotten better since his rookie season. So I'm excited to see what he can contribute to this offense. And then let's not forget about our second-round wide receiver pick from this year's draft, Rashee Rice. He's looking like an absolute stud, an absolute superstar. 13,000 receiving yards last season. I believe that was third in college football. Super excited to see what he can do in this offense. And then there's just some other really sneaky guys that I think, I believe they deserve an opportunity. And I think if DeAndre Hopkins was on this team, that opportunity would be severely limited. Okay, let's not forget about Justin Ross. This guy, everybody's hopping on the Justin Ross hype train. It's been lasting for a couple of seasons now. If you guys don't know the story on Justin Ross, superstar wide receiver at Clemson, until unfortunately he suffered a terrible injury that really set him back. Ended up going undrafted, and this, we're talking about one of the greatest receivers, at the time during college football. A huge setback for him in terms of just suffering that injury. Ended up on the Chiefs practice squad. He's been there for a couple of seasons. He hasn't been cleared to play medically. Not quite yet. This season could potentially be the season that he gets cleared. And I believe if he does, he could be a real big playmaker on the Chiefs offense. And then I think Justin Watson is another guy who we should really keep our eye on. I mean, I love the way that he played last season. A sneaky pick, got him from the Buccaneers real quick. Not a guy who really played much in the NFL until we picked him up, put him on our roster, and he has, he's had a couple of great plays. I think he's a really solid player. I think he's a guy who deserves more opportunities, and, I just like our group. I really do. I think we've got a great group of receivers, and I think they all deserve, some moment in the spotlight. And I think they've all earned it. I think they're all good enough to suit up, boom, get on that 53-man roster and just play their hearts out. I think they're great. And I think DeAndre Hopkins being on this team would severely limit that. And I'm not saying if DeAndre Hopkins was on the Chiefs, we would all of a sudden be bad. We'd definitely still be a great football team. But I just don't think it's necessary, frankly. I really do not think it's necessary to pay another max player to come in onto the Chiefs. I think Brett Veach has, he's been really strong in the sense that, Tyreek Hill, he at the time he was with us for 6 years, we were looking for a contract negotiation, and Brett Veach said, this is how much we're willing to give you. We're not willing to go over that, okay? So if you're not willing to take that deal, I'm sorry, you gotta go. He's setting strict limits on the amount of money that he's spending because he knows we've got this guy, Patrick Mahomes. We can just build a team around him. There's a lot of flexibility there. And I don't think, it's a great idea to tie up all your money into a couple of really great players when what you can do is you can take that money, you can spread the wealth. Give it to all these really solid players that deserve opportunities, players that could potentially blossom into that big superstar. Rashee Rice, Sky Moore, guys that are, young, developing, guys that could turn into a Tyreek Hill. I think it's great. I think it's really, really smart. And I think it's just fantastic. Another thing to add is the Chiefs, we've gone out and we've spent a lot of guaranteed money on undrafted free agents. I think that's really, telling. I think our scouting department is saying, hey, look at these guys. Look at these guys that we looked at who somehow didn't get drafted. We need to lock them up. I think that's just so smart. Because there are guys like Daniel Sorensen who, in the past, he was an undrafted free agent. I mean, Tommy Townsend as well was an undrafted guy. I mean, he's a punter, so most punters are undrafted. But I think Tommy Townsend has blossomed into one of the best, if not the best punter in the league. And here he is, we just picked him right up. You know, Harrison Butker was another guy who we ended up just finding on someone's practice squad, picked him up, brought him in, and here he is, one of the best kickers in the NFL. So I really do applaud our scouting department for being able to pick up these undrafted guys and bring them onto the team and have them make big impacts. You know, I think it's great. I think we've got some great scouts. And I think Brett Veach he's just a mastermind. You know, I haven't seen anybody do as good of a job as him, frankly, like ever. I'm talking about Chiefs, I'm talking about any NFL team. I mean, Howie Roseman is pretty good on the Eagles, but I think Brett Veach, he's just number one. I mean, you can't tell me he's not. Just an absolute mastermind. He knows exactly what to do. He knows the right moves to make. He knows the right trades to make. He knows the right guys to pick up. He's just so smart. He knows exactly what he's doing in that front office. And, you know, I trust every decision he decides to make. If he, for whatever reason, decides to sign Deshaun Watson, or sorry, not Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins. If he decides to sign DeAndre Hopkins, yeah, I guess I trust you. That's what I'm saying, basically. I trust any decision he makes. Even though, you know, at the time, you know, there's been things in the past that I just didn't really like the Kadarius Toney trade. I was like, I don't know about that. But, you know, once again, you know, Brett Veach proving me wrong, picking up Kadarius Toney, and look at the impact he had in the Super Bowl alone. You know, he was a difference maker, big time. So that's about all I got, you know, in terms of this situation with DeAndre Hopkins. You know, I think at the moment, the only teams that have offered him a contract have been the Titans and the Patriots. And I think those are two pretty good teams. I think he would fit well on either one of those teams. You know, both teams that are in need of another big receiver. You know, in case you guys didn't already know, the Patriots did end up picking up Juju Smith-Schuster from us. Got him on a nice 3-year, $16 million contract, I believe. I believe it's $16 million a year. So that's good for him. So adding DeAndre Hopkins to that would make them pretty solid. And I think the Titans, you know, they don't really have a guy. They got Treylon Burks, who's pretty solid. But I think another really great guy would definitely help them a lot. So, you know, I think he fits better on those teams, frankly. And the Chiefs, I think we're good. I really do. Even though I think some people would take a look at our depth chart and say, I don't know, they look a little thin at receiver. I look at this group of guys and I'm like, we're set. You know, I'm really liking this group. So, yeah, you know, that's all I really got to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next Chiefs chat. Peace out.